What is up, my YouTube family? Welcome back to podcast, Round the Table Podcast. It is number 27. Actually, Bare Bones Reactions is the name of my channel. I just wanted to kind of touch base with everybody and go through this Ryan Upchurch video and kind of talk about it because it's a little different than what he comes with. It's a little different what he brings to the table. So now I look at this stuff and I'm looking back on the Kelly Rodney thing and all this other speculations of her tires rolling, her being in the back of the trunk and back of the seat, the car being upside down, the water being 14 foot deep. Why didn't the cops find her? All the speculations about everything at this point. So now it brings me to this video because, as we know, Ryan Upchurch has an open mind, and I made a video on it that everybody deserves a certain point in their life to where they should be free-minded. They should be able to say what they want to say. Yes, people's going to get mad. People's going to speculate on them and say they're on drugs and say all this other stuff. But why is that? So this video kind of shines on everything I just talked about. So anyways, guys, love yourself, like yourself, be nothing but yourself. Like and subscribe to the channel. It's highly appreciated, guys. Anyways, let's see what Ryan has to say.
What, you thought I was done making these motherfuckers stay awake, biting their fingernails? Nope. I just been sitting, watching, looking, getting on OBS and screen recording stuff that happens, you know, just watching. First off, I'll say this. Some of y'all crime channels, y'all need to grow some balls. If you feel like something is something, say you feel like, hey, this something is something. I get your channel revolves around, you know, people not getting mad at you and stuff, so you kind
And see, that's the thing. You have these crime channels that do this daily, okay? And then they have somebody who is a musician, who is a rap star, country star, and rock star. And they come into a position to where they're more popular than somebody else. Then it kind of makes them think that they're different, that that person's different. But what they bring to the table is a whole nother set of tools. It's kind of like when you're in a kitchen and you have, you know, chefs around or whatever. You have one that's good at meats. You have one that's good at, you know, mixing. You may have one that's good at something else, but without the dishwasher, they don't have anything. So that's kind of what I'm seeing here is people comes up jealous. But one thing someone said is wrong because of that reason. Now, speaking on what he said about Kelly Rodney and stuff, I made a video on that. I'm neutral on it. I'm open to anybody's thoughts, anybody's questions. I'm a firm believer in not, you know, judging somebody for what they say. That's who I am. Anyways, guys, let's continue to see what Ryan has to say.
of just sit back and go, man, what do you guys think? And then you look at the comment section, and then you agree with what the majority says. Because, you know, that's what the majority of y'all do. If you want to train the people who watch your stuff to just believe everything they're told without any facts, go ahead, you can. I'm not. For the past 3 weeks, I've heard nothing but, oh my God, you're crazy. You're crazy, you're on drugs, you're so wrong, ha ha, stupid. Yeah, the jig is up, we get it. You got a system going on where you just pile a bunch of misinformation everywhere.
This is the new form of catfishing.
You got people involved and people not involved, but still involved because they're acting not involved with the person that's involved. They act like they don't know each other when really they do know each other, so they can be in on the same situation, not knowing each other to throw people off to make them have alibis or speak of alibis they could have or couldn't have. Based on actual information that gets found determines what information they put out as a deterrent. So in the beginning, to cover up whatever it is they done, they plant multiple theories. Certain people attach to multiple theories. When you have multiple theories, it keeps stemming out and stemming out. Speculate, 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 speculate. Once it stems out so far, well then you lose track of the target. Just like pyrophoric flares. If a missile has a target and it throws out 3 deterrents, well, it's gonna be pulled in different directions, and guess what? You never catch up to your target don't get burnt. Now, if you're one of those people in the comments who are like, well, why would somebody do all that to get away with this? Do you think they committed a crime being like, aha, I'm gonna leave every clue to getting caught?
I can't wait to get caught.
No, they're gonna make it complex as possible especially when it's picked up
national news.
And to those of you asking, why do I keep changing my theory? I don't. That's bullshit. You can go back and look. My theory hasn't changed. The suspects that I said were suspects as the story unfolds are still the same.
And you notice what he said. He said theory. Now, what he's talking about here is everybody we have heard from. We've heard Zaname, Ikkenmel, and this other guy. Come to find out, they all do know each other. And that was actually proven. And that's the truth. So he's not lying about that. And as far as Ikkenmel being a hacker, he has a video out. I said that in my last video of him actually saying he hacks people's cameras to watch what they're doing. Him and his friend. And like he said, these people's known each other forever. So what is people mad about? Are they mad about what he said about Kelly Rodney not being real? And none of it being real? And about his Hellcat being given away. People's like, well, if it ain't real, then why is he giving a Hellcat away? And that was a good question. I even made a video on that too. But at this standpoint, why do we have to be mad at somebody for what they said? Why do we have to downfall someone for saying something that they believe? Yes, it's a little girl. Yes, it is sad. Yes, her family deserves closure. And we've all said this. But it all originated from one podcast of somebody trying to hold up for somebody they supposedly did not know. And come to find out, they all three knew each other. That's what he's talking about. So is that weird? Yeah, that's weird. I mean, do we need to speculate on more than, what's being said? That's not for me to judge. It's just like all these other cases that come up. That's all people do. They hear what they're saying, and then they put it in perspective, and they try to figure it out. What do you think detectives do? They take what they have, and sometimes they think way outside the box, and guess what? Sometimes it may be true. That's just what they do. So why do we have to judge? Why aren't we judging any other channel that covers this stuff for what they've said, for what they've done? Is it because certain people doesn't like somebody? And I'm not holding up for Upchurch at this point. I said I'm neutral on all this stuff. And you watch all my videos, I'm neutral on every one. That's it. So all this other stuff that's speculating on, I think that we all have an open mind and we all can speak for ourselves. Should you lend an opinion? Sure. You have a right to your opinion. So I believe in that. And so does other people. So anyways, guys, let's continue to see what Ryan has to say.
The same suspects that I think are
Suspect.
And those suspects are Ikkenmel, Zaname, and Ronnie Jones. That's the core people. And people can say what they want. If I would have never yelled at the Ronnie Jones character and called his ass out on Ikkenmel's channel, if I never would have yelled at Zaname and asked her a bunch of questions that she couldn't answer, and if I never pressed Ikkenmel the YouTuber about showing us Ronnie Jones is real, we would have never found out that Ronnie Jones is fake. We also wouldn't have got to see incriminating videos being posted by these supposed not criminals and then them deleting it.
Because they look like criminals.
Hell, there's still stuff that I've done like a week ago in podcasts with the Zaname girl that no one's even caught on to yet. Remember when I asked her, yeah, you like this guitar? I'll send it to you. You have a P.O. box or something? And she didn't answer me. Because you know why? I can't send it to her. Because I'll find out where the fuck she's at. And they don't want that.
Obviously.
Hell, me and my team have had 2 fucking iPhones be fried because of this. Because we wanted to see what they could do. If they could hack shit. So we baited them with a bullshit number attached to an Instagram. They're like,
Haha, I got the number.
Now, I could understand where someone doesn't want to give out an address. I could totally understand that. But not only has Ryan Upchurch been accused of being someone can attack somebody, Glare Guy, the YouTuber, actually said that he was capable of attacking someone and hurting them. I made a video on that too. So all these channels seem like they're afraid of something that's gonna happen. Or is it just for views? Look, guys, that's the reason why I stay neutral in everything I try to do here. Do I like Creek Squad? Yes, I do. That represents who I am. That's what the Creek Squad is about. It's about family. So, with that being said, I'm open. My mind's open. I don't take neither nor sides. But when I see something weird and wrong, I point it out. That's just what I stand for again. Anyways, guys, let's see what Ryan has to say.
There was nothing on the phone. It was a bullshit phone. But look what they did. They fried the phone. So that tells me don't give them my number and don't let them get my number. Which is why I shared the video I found from 7 years ago where Ickno is saying, hey, I know how to get in your phone and look at you.
And shit like that.
See what it is these people are running off 2 rules as their golden rules. Here's their 2 golden rules. Majority rules and numbers don't lie. See, but it backfired. Numbers don't lie backfired when people with numbers got involved in what they were doing and started looking at it. Majority rules backfired because they're not the majority anymore. And here's why they're scrambling. Here's why they're losing. Here's why they're tripping up. Because they thought that nobody would give a fuck. They thought nobody would give a shit about this situation. Well, we're proving that that's not true.
Well, what about the police, Ryan? Don't you think it's the police? Don't you think the police are being suspicious?
Yeah, but like I just said a minute ago, it's complex. It's not going to be easy to figure out. I think there's bad cops and good cops. I think the bad cops know who the good cops are. I think the good cops don't know who the bad cops are. There you go. How do I think one way they're getting away with it? A battle of resources. And if the resources are controlled on both sides, you can pick which side wins. If you're the police department that's always having crime going on, you're not going to dump your entire budget into one single solitary thing that's happening when 30 other things are going to happen over the next 30 days. Look at this situation over here. If you are the criminal, you only have one situation to worry about at that time. If there are fake GoFundMe pages, this person who's a criminal is getting funded to be able to get away, while police are using their fundings that they have to spare out to other people. So it's more slim over here than it is over here. Didn't you see how they had like 19,000 man hours and all this crazy shit? And then AWP goes out there like some bosses and finds the damn car in like 30 minutes? Yeah, they ate up the fundings on purpose. And they didn't even do anything. And these people talk in code and shit. Like they...
And that is true, because if you remember correctly, they actually said that they was going to pull back on the search. So what Ryan said there is totally makes sense. They are funded to do these searches. So the family or the cops and whoever else that was searching for the car that didn't find it had to pull away because their fundings was gone. So he's not lying about that. Now, people took that totally different than what he was talking about, though. Aguilera once again said that he was actually talking about other people, about the cops being in on stuff and everything else. That's what he was talking about. No, he's specifically talking about the funding, about wasting the time. Whenever Avengers with a Purpose come in and found her within 20 to 30 minutes. That's what he's talking about here. So that's another point of people taking someone what they say in perspective and putting it into a video just to make themselves look good, or maybe even try to make people not like who Ryan Upchurch is. And it can be any other person. His channel is specifically based on literally putting down people. That's what it is. If you watch Aguilera's channel, it is nothing but drama. And then he wants to gripe and complain because he has nothing but Creek Squad in his comments. Well, you've called all of them idiots. I've said it before. You bring to your channel what you put into your channel. If you put in negativity and stupidity, you're going to get that in your comments. You're going to get that in your live chats. That's what you're going to get. But there's also a thing, if you come and you talk trash about the Creek Squad, we're a family. That's who we are. So Ryan Upchurch and the Creek Squad is 2 peas in a pod. That's who he is. So therefore, Creek Squad's got to hold up for Ryan Upchurch. That's it. Anyways, guys, that's what he's talking about, is the funding as far as running out goes. He didn't mean anything else by what he said there. It was specifically due to them not finding her and running up man hours, funding out. And then they had to call someone else in and say, hey, find her, and they found her. Anyways, guys, let's continue to see what Ryan has to say.
Create this shitstorm, and then they create these individuals on the internet that will take up for them and go to war for them. And then when they say stuff like, hey, the fire is burning in the grasslands. I know that sounds crazy, but they'll type something like that. And that's the point where they eject themselves from the situation, go ghost, and let the people on the internet that are taking up for them speculate while they don't do shit. They just run away. If you have someone who is guilty of something and you say something that makes them look guilty or even guiltier, they are going to come back at you hard as shit because they don't want to be looked at as guilty. When you're saying this person's guilty and all these other people pop up trying to cover for the person you're saying is guilty and they look guilty, well, someone's probably hella guilty. Hell, you mean out of all these mysteries Ickmel has went over, this is the first time he's ever gotten defensive and been like, no, I swear to God, Ronnie's real. To the point where he edits him fucking videos and all this weird shit. Then he gets the Ronnie guy on his show, and the Ronnie guy's like, yeah, man, I seen everything that happened that night the whole fucking time. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, who the fuck are you? And they're like, don't worry about it, I'm Ronnie Jones. And I'm like, nah, what's your real name? They're like, it's Ronnie Jones. And then, like, all these other mysterious people pop up, they're like,
It's Ronnie Jones.
okay, well, pretty much thanks for clarifying that that black guy and Nick Mel's shit that they're saying is Ronnie Jones is not Ronnie Jones. Thank you. Then I got this dude pops out of fucking nowhere. He's like, hey, talk to me so I can misinform you on shit. He calls himself Miro. Whatever. Well, the Ronnie Jones Instagram got all changed, and the dude put Miro on it. And I was like, this might be the same person. So when this Miro guy called me, he showed his face for like 2 seconds, but I was screen recording.
Dummy.
So I got a good clear shot of his face. And that dude's like, yeah, man, hear me up, dude. You know, you're looking in the wrong place. And that Ronnie guy.
Who? Who is that?
And then I like sent him a picture of the Ronnie dude's shoes. He's like, hey, those are Ronnie's shoes. And I'm like, how the fuck do you know? Okay, cool. Thanks for the information. So then my buddy, he's like, dude, that guy's suspect as hell, right? So he does some research on the local high schools and shit around there. And then finds a yearbook from a local middle school that has, what do you know, a guy named Ronnie Jones.
You remember whenever Ronnie Jones and Ickmel was talking, and they was sitting there, and they thought that they was slick because Ronnie Jones called in, and his house was totally blurred out. So, and then Ickmel's like, don't look, don't turn because you're gonna give up where you're at. What does it matter? What does it really matter at this point? Do you want to hide yourself that much? Because there is internet and there is Google Earth. But your house is blurred out, coming from the same person that actually was a hacker with Ickmel whenever they used to play games with each other. And they used to hack in to people's cameras to watch them. Now, why? But he hasn't got no flack from any of that stuff. So, for that being said, Ryan Upchurch has that video of Ickmel saying that he was a hacker and explaining it all. So who knows what Ickmel and this Ronnie Jones could actually do as getting into people's cameras. I know I don't want to be watched. I know you guys don't want to be watched. But we have people like that out there that actually does do that. And he's one of them. So that's what everybody is not talking about, is being watched by cameras. He says he can do it. He said who he was. He said who did it. Ronnie Jones and Ickmel did it together. It's proven. He says it himself. Ickmel does. But anyways, guys, let's continue to see what Ryan has to say.
In it that looks just like this guy who's like, hey, I know Ronnie. Yeah, well, okay.
We know that now.
So then we go to Ickmel's page to watch this live he orchestrated with this apparent criminal
Named Ronnie Jones.
And the dude fucks up and shows his legs, and it's like, well, fuck, dude. Ronnie's legs are white. What do you know? Then this Russian lady who looks like fucking Gengar pops out of nowhere with a big bump on her lip.
Her name is Zanime.
And she's like, that's not Ronnie. It's like, whoa, where the fuck did you come from? Me and her get in an argument because she can't answer simple questions. She gets pissed off because Ronnie. She's like, no, we must protect Ronnie. Ronnie, that black guy over there on Ikmel's channel, that's Ronnie. We must protect him. It's like, no, you're protecting the other white dude who looks just like you, fool. Which is why when I said, yo, Ronnie's a fucking suspect, I don't care what you say, purple hair lady. She's like, yeah, well, Ronnie has a family. And it's like, well, Ronnie shouldn't have fucking opened his big fat Ronnie ass mouth. Then out of nowhere, she's like, well, if it was me, I would protect my family. It's because you are protecting your family by saying, hey, look at that guy. It's him. Someone who looks the opposite of the person I'm kin to, who's actually who done it. We get it. The guy you're kin to is Ronnie Jones. The guy who's on Ikmel's channel is covering for Ronnie Jones by saying he's Ronnie Jones. Which is why the Ronnie Jones character on Ikmel's channel is like, yeah, my two cousins. Yeah, the two cousins are Ronnie Jones and Zanime.
Duh.
And don't even ask me, oh, well, what's your theory on why Zanime is a suspect? Gee, I don't know, maybe because her fat butterball ass went out there and pushed a damn kayak in the water.
And Ronnie did call in and said that his cousins was there. Zanime said that she had a beautiful, luscious party right next door. Do you see where this whole thing came up at? How people can speculate outside the box and come up with stuff? And it's proven they know each other. So, therefore, I mean, everybody has a right to their own opinion. But even Zanime said, I'm sure everybody at that luscious party is being questioned. Now, if somebody says that on live, do you not see, you connect the dots, they know each other, she was there, Ronnie knew who she was, she holding up for Ronnie, no one knew at the time who Ronnie was, Ikmel didn't even know that he knew the two, him, Ikmel and Ronnie as the hackers together, get into people's cameras, Zanime supposedly military, started a YouTube channel, didn't even want to be a crime reporter, she says it, and then they search and they find out that all three of them actually know each other. That's weird. That's all there is to it. That is definitely weird. So to speculate all this other stuff, I'm out of that because I'm not the type to put my opinion to where it doesn't belong. I don't cover crime reporters. I don't cover the crime stuff. I covered, Kelly Rodney and the search for her. That's what I covered. That's it. So to put my head in someplace else, would I be interested in it? Sure, I'd be interested in it. I think it's very interesting. But I notice all these other crime reporters too that doesn't really lend their opinion because they're afraid to lend their opinion. That's what they're based off of, is going off of what everybody else has to say. That's the reason why people does not like Ryan Upchurch. That's it. Anyways, guys, I'm going to continue. Let's see what Ryan has to say.
And pedaled out there to, the crime scene that at that time no one found yet. Then when they found the car, she's like, oh, delete. Hello. So Upchurch, tell us your crazy theory about how you think Ikmel's involved. Gee, I don't know. Maybe because he's helping do damage control and editing videos for these people who are obviously swimming over the damn crime scene and lying about who they are to cover up what the fuck happened, talking about proof they have of that night that they ain't released to nobody, putting content out, incriminating themselves, and then deleting it. Gee, maybe because he helped do all that. Now look, now you got this footage coming out of this tow truck driver with AWP. Man, tow truck driver is completely full of shit.
Completely full of shit.
What is he doing? He's sticking to the pattern of what they already done. What does that tell you? They got together and was like, man, shit's getting too hot. We gotta break contact for a while. Now it's been probably like 4 or 5 days since they talked to each other. Still only having their original story and not having any personal contact with each other to show that we don't know each other. Because that's what they do. They know and don't know each other because it's convenient for them at certain times. Look how the tow truck driver's story matched up. Oh yeah, the girl didn't know how to put a seatbelt on. And she was like, yo, how do you click this seatbelt the right way? You know, she looked like she might have been hungover. Yeah, like, or something, or been like out all night or something. You know, she was saying stuff that like didn't make sense. Yeah, you're painting the same picture everyone else did. The little girl was so fucked up and all this fucked up shit. And man, she was asking me dumb questions like, how do I clicky my seatbelt? The next thing they're gonna do, they're all gonna start turning on each other. Watch.
And you know, part of that is actually true because now you have the pictures that came out with the 3 girls. People saying that the one wasn't even Kelly Rodney. And they actually got emails saying it was not Kelly Rodney. So this, I've said it from the beginning, guys. This whole thing is weird. There's not anything that really makes sense here. The party, 300 people, the boxing matches they had, Kelly Rodney ending up in a lake, the beautiful, luscious party next door, her phone pinging by. I mean, none of it makes sense. That's it. So I see what Ryan Upchurch is coming about because none of it does. So a lot of people want to speculate outside the box because to try to figure out what is happened and what didn't happen. So I'm just going to leave it at that, guys. Love yourself, like yourself, be nothing but yourself. Like, subscribe to the channel is highly appreciated, guys. Salute to Creek Squad, guys. YouTube family, your boy Deuce is out. I love you guys.